Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this January 9th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon, and we're on the EOA network.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Good morning.
How are you, man?
It's second Monday.
Yeah.
But it's the first show of the new year.
First show of the new year?
Yeah, for us, isn't it?
No, we had one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
We had one last Thursday. Remember, you weren't feeling very well.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Yeah. It's all. I was thinking it's all. Yeah.
No, it's all right.
Yes, I remember. I remember now. I was thinking it's still the first week.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's
already the 9th. We're already a third of the way through January.
I've had shows like that where you go back and you looking like, did that happen?
I've done the complete wrong day for on this day before.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was the day before or the day after.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was on Facebook this morning. I was just looking. I always look a little bit before the show to try to get any ideas or anything. And I came across this thing for the New Year's, and it says the #1 song in America on your 24th birthday.
24th birthday
is how your 2024 goes. You want to know what yours is? Yours.
#1 song on my 24th birthday.
Yeah. Try to guess.
24.
I don't think you're gonna get it.
No,
it's a tough one.
I would.
Your song, how your 2024 is gonna go, is "Before the Next Teardrop Falls" by Freddie Fender. Do you remember that song?
Vaguely.
I don't even want to say mine because it's so far from the truth.
Yours? Yeah.
Mine is "Crazy in Love" by Beyonce. Imagine that. Weird.
Kyle, yeah, that's.
Does that mean the crazies are gonna fall in love with me, or I'm gonna be crazy? I think it's part A.
The crazies are gonna fall in love with you.
That's normally how
it
works.
could happen. It could be that you know.
I'm good.
When you fall, you could fall hard.
Oh man.
Have you fallen hard in the past? Like when you like.
My ex-wife, I still love her.
Well, I know, but but at the beginning of it, was it like, boom, like all in?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and what was mine again?
"Before the Next Teardrop Falls" by Freddie Fender.
Yeah. So but I don't know how do I apply that to 2024?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what that song is about.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, you were alive. You were 24. I wasn't even born yet, dude.
Right. You were born. You were born in '79.
Oh yeah. What year was that? 70. Your 24th birthday?
79. I was 18. It was the year I graduated from high school.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you were.
It was like 1980. What year you were born? 65.
You're the math guy. I was born in '61.
61. So yeah, it was 1985.
So how old were you in '85? 6.
You know what? I think I did 1975 BC.
For me?
Yeah.
Before the.
Let me just make sure.
So the #1 song in
May. I think I did 75. Maybe that's not. Yeah.
Oh.
So 85 is "Everything She Wants" by Wham. I did 75. I made you 10 years older.
Everything she wants. I don't know that that's any better. I don't know what that means.
"Everything She Wants" by Wham.
Maybe that means like
So I mean, there's something I want to talk about today too. I read a post when I was on Facebook. The warming station. They posted a thing saying that they can't open. It says, "If someone wants to provide a meal tonight, we'll be able to open. Thank you in advance." Do they have to have a meal to open a place where people are getting warm and staying out of the
I don't
snow?
know. And you and I talked about this offline a little bit, but it's like, I don't know.
If somebody knows that and watches this, message me and let me know. I mean, we've reached out to them and tried to get them on the show. We'd love to have a conversation about what's happening there and how, it would give some exposure for volunteers. But I wouldn't understand why they would need to have a meal to open. And then the other thing is I mean, that shouldn't, in a town like LeGrand, I know they've had like averaging like 20 to 25 people a night there.
Right.
And that's a lot of people, but you can, I mean, it's not hard to come up with a meal for that. You know what I mean? Like
No.
And I don't want to like put anybody down. That's not what it's about. I'm just confused. Like, do they not open the doors if they don't have a meal?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was homeless and hungry, and it was
Like
a
this.
foot of snow outside or
Yeah.
half a foot, even if you didn't have chili and cornbread, you had a warm place for me to put my stuff down and sit down.
Right.
I'm coming.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would love to have that answered if somebody has the answer.
Yep.
I don't understand that at all.
I don't know.
Huh.
All right.
Interesting.
You want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Go see the Daggett family. They have an awesome showroom. They have a huge selection of mattresses, recliners, sofas, everything for your home. Northwest Furniture and Mattress, big red rocking chair on Elm, off Adams in LeGrand. LHS girls basketball beat Crook County on Friday and then turned around and lost a tough one to Madras on Saturday. 51-40. They open GOL play tonight at home versus Baker. The Tiger Boys lost both of their games of the weekend to Crook County and Madras, 74-38 and 72-44. They also kick off GOL tonight against Baker at home at the high school gym at 7:30. The Bulldogs of Baker are the #1 team in the state.
Wow.
They're good. We're going to have our hands full with them tonight. EOU men's and women's basketball both got splits this weekend. They both beat Walla Walla, which is expected, and they both lost to LCSC. I mean, this is an average year for both of these teams so far, and it's kind of, I mean, I kind of expected more, and I think they did too. I mean, just so far, we're not too deep into CCC play yet, but I mean, things have got to change in the next couple weeks in order for us to make a run. And I mean, even make the women's team will no doubt make the playoffs. I mean, they're always top 8.
Yeah.
The tournament at the end of the year. The men's team, it's questionable right now, and they gotta come together. They're still trying to find that groove, and they haven't quite got there yet. And they have a lot of talent on that team. It's crazy. They just gotta find a way to mesh, and it's weird with after COVID. You know, after we had the COVID, you know, the extra year and all that. There's a lot of transfer players now, and a lot of, you know, guys that are only been there for a year and leaving, or 2 years and leaving, and that's not. At EOU in the past, it's been more 4-year guys. You know what I mean? And with COVID, it's changed that a little bit. So the chemistry has to, you know what I mean? There's a lot of new guys, and they got to figure it out. Both of those teams go on the road this weekend. They play Bushnell on Friday, Corbin on Saturday, the Salem trip. EOU women's wrestling went 1-3 at the NWCA National Duels over the weekend. They have senior night on Thursday night at 6. I don't think they're actually wrestling. I think they're just going to celebrate senior night with the men's team. They wrestle against Pacific and Linfield in Forest Grove on the 20th. And then the men's team, they went 3-0 in Arizona over the weekend with huge wins over Vanguard, ACU, and Embry-Riddle. And that EOU men's wrestling team's in the top 20. They're solid. Hunter Sparks is still #1 in the country at 125. And they wrestle Thursday night against Big Bend Community College at Quinn at 6. And it's senior night. So get up there and support the EOU wrestling team. They're fun to watch. They're good. They really are. That's the AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. They want to make you comfortable in your own home.
Good stuff. All righty. Well, let's look at the weather cam. And look at all that snow, man.
Ugh.
Yeah, and as you and I were talking, walking is not too bad this morning.
No, because it's traction-y snow.
Yeah, it's kind of
to
sticky.
it.
It'd be perfect snowman snow.
You won't be catching me making no snow.
Yeah,
Man.
but I'll tell you, the roads are just slick as can be out there, and just because I don't know that there's much
You gonna go
I
spin
didn't
some
see
cookies
any.
in the EO Alive van in the Bi-Mart parking lot?
Yeah.
Have a couple cold beers and
I
spin
didn't
some
see
cookies?
any. I don't know that they've been out yet and sanded any of the intersections or anything yet. So
I know they ran the scraper already.
Did they?
Well, yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
At least it looked like that, because on the crosswalks right
Yeah.
there, there's piles. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you got to walk through a pile.
Yeah.
Because I walked today. It was nice today. I mean, it wasn't horrible. It's not windy, and if it's not raining or snowing,
Yeah.
I can handle walking in this. I'd rather walk than scrape off my car.
Yeah. Let's look at the weather here, Benny. So 38 today.
Is it going to warm up this afternoon?
No, doesn't look like it.
'Cause that'll
29
make it
tonight,
even
so it's going to be
nastier.
cold. And then toward the weekend, it's getting colder. I mean, Saturday is supposed to be down to 19 degrees high.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then Sunday
like
night, again, 8 degrees. So it's going to be getting colder. And it looks like snow. So,
imagine that.
yeah. But here we are, man. That,
Already a third of the way through January.
yeah. Yep.
Wow. This year's already flying by.
So is there anything, have you thought about anything that you want to, maybe not a resolution, but like a hopeful? You have anything hopeful for 24?
I want to lose about 30 pounds. That's my goal, 35.
That's me too.
Maybe right around there. And
Yeah.
I mean, if I can get down, well, maybe a little bit more than that. If I can get down to like 275, I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's a good weight for me. I wear it pretty well.
Yeah.
And I'm at that age where I need to just.
Yeah, and maybe that correlates with the song that is
Maybe
your.
Crazy in Love?
Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah. All righty. Well, hey, Rikki Jo Hickey, who is our EO Alive Arts and Music Update host, is going to be with us here in a couple minutes, and we'll be right back.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku. Here in Eastern Oregon, we're blessed to live in such a wonderful area. And though it may seem mild-mannered, there's actually quite a lot that goes on in this area. And apparently, there's two dinguses who happen to be here that are actually crazy enough to get up at the crack of dawn to talk about it. Tune into AM Live on EOA with Brent and Dodsey, featuring special guests, weather, sports, news, and more, every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 a.m., only on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
He's got one more. Oh, here we are. Hey, how are you doing, Rikki?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
And do people call you Rikki or Rikki Jo every time?
There's not one every time.
There's not every time?
It's whatever
Okay.
people are comfortable
Yeah,
with.
whatever works out.
I just respond.
Yeah. So I went back and reviewed and looked a little bit of our conversation last time you were here.
Yeah.
And we talked about you writing play. You were just starting your business.
Yeah.
You were in Dracula at
Yeah.
that time, yeah. And then we started talking about you writing different things, including a puppet show on
Yes.
curling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah. So, how you been? What do you anticipate in the new year?
I don't know. Everything's already like exceeding my expectations.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a great start to the year. I'm like so excited and nervous that means it might not be a fantastic year.
Yeah.
That it might start to go
So
down.
so what things are good for you?
I'm almost at capacity at my studio.
Oh,
I have to close 2 classes now because I have enough students in them. The play that I'm writing is nearing completion, and I will be taking it to work with some students and put it up on its feet in the end of February. Like, there's just so many things happening and going in the right direction.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell me about the play, and have you done a play before like this?
Not like this. I've written plays before, and I've had them produced on college campuses, and those plays explored like silence and relationships. This play is very different since it's based on a youth novel, and so I'm just adapting it, and the author just read it, and she loves it. So I'm really excited because if she approves of it, then that means I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
And this one is a lot longer than any I've written before. And
Okay.
so I have to cut it down a lot more because it's supposed to be shorter than everything I've ever written before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it original? This one that you're working on now, is it, or
It's
is
not.
it?
I'm just adapting
Okay.
a youth novel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, what's it about?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same one. It's the curling one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's the one I'm finishing it up right now. So it's not an entirely new play. This is the same one. It just takes time. So I'm editing now, and this Saturday actually I have a workshop for it so that actors can read it and I can hear it and kind of see it on its feet, and then I can start chopping stuff out of it.
So this is the puppet one, or is this a? I'm
This
sorry.
is the puppet one.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So because I was kind of in my head, I'm thinking of like a traditional play.
Oh.
So this is a play with puppets about curling
Yes, and with human actors.
and human actors.
It's-
Oh,
Where
Yeah.
are you going to find the puppeteers?
You make them. You find them. You just bring people in.
There's
You teach them
puppeteers
how
on
to
the
do
ground?
it.
You just
yeah,
teach
'em? Okay.
Yeah, you teach them as you
okay.
go.
Gotcha.
That's the idea behind this play. So Optimist International commissioned this play.
Oh.
So it's going to be an international play, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
So it's going to start off up in Canada, and they envisioned it being a puppet show. And I told them, if you want different Optimist clubs around the world to do it, then you need to make it simple enough that if they don't have puppeteers in the area, that they can just put it on its feet with just regular actors. And so that's the way it's going. And then we might include with the script when people order it, we might include the puppet dog as part of the package.
interesting.
Yeah.
So
Well, let me ask a question
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Lindsay. Are they like full-on puppets, like with people up there with the?
Well, those are marionettes. So there's tons of different types of puppets.
Okay, what kind of puppets are they?
It's whatever people want, but the one that's going to be the dog would be like a hand puppet where the hand moves the mouth, and then so think Sesame Street, Cookie Monster, say.
Yeah.
Real arms are inside Cookie Monster moving his hands.
Right,
Yeah. So that's kind of what the dog would be.
But the person's hidden.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that
gotcha.
doesn't always happen. Sometimes, like in Bunraku in Japan, the puppeteers are on stage in all blacks, so they kind of just blend in with the background, and then the puppets stand out themselves.
So how are they interacting visually? How do they interact with human characters?
The same way another actor would. You look at them. Well, how's it going?
No, but I mean, when I did puppets when I was a teen, you had a curtain and a stage, and it was made out of PVC pipe and the whole. Yeah, and
yeah,
so
you can do that too.
okay, so it's kind of up to them how
Yes.
they adapt. Okay.
Yeah, so I have made it incredibly simplified and broad so that anybody could try it out. So if they want all characters to be puppets, all characters could be puppets.
Okay.
But if they want the human beings to interact, like I think the main kid would do better as an actual human until we get to the curling scenes, and then magic, and now he's a puppet up on stage doing the
Oh,
curling,
okay,
right?
okay.
Because it would be really hard to get a curling set on the
Right.
stage. I mean, they have floor sets now that they could use, but it just wouldn't have the same effect as
So
what we're
tell me,
hoping for.
what's the plot? What's the actual story?
So this 12-year-old kid tries out for the hockey team. He's been playing hockey his whole life. He tries out once he's in middle school, and the middle school coach is like, "No way, you're too small, you're out. But you're really good, so try out when you get bigger." And this kid is like devastated. His best friend made it on the team, so he goes home and he throws a fit. He doesn't talk to his parents about it because he's afraid they'll be disappointed. And the neighbor finds out about it. And he's an older gentleman, and he says, "Well, have you ever thought about curling? It's kind of fun. Maybe you'd enjoy that. It's on the ice, too." And he's like, "Pfft." and then tries it out, and he falls in love with curling, and he's great at it. So it's a really beautiful story. It's full of optimism and hope, and the family, I kind of cut the family out of the story, but they are really a positive influence. He like bickers with his sister, but they're all gone now, and now he talks to his dog Ruff in place of talking with his family.
Okay.
Because anymore you want scripts to have less characters, just so that they can be produced more easily.
Simple, yeah.
Yeah.
Does the dog talk back?
No, but he does wag his tail, and he chases a ball, and he barks, and he pants, and he rolls over. He interacts pretty
So
good.
the lady that wrote this book, what was her inspiration to write a book about puppets curling?
You know,
Do you know?
yeah. So her name is Jean Cutler Blecky, and she just has grown up, and she is a Canadian. And
I was going to ask that
yeah,
too.
over on the East Coast, and she's just grown up with curling, and she's watched kids, and she's appreciated kids, and she had her own kids and family members that did it, and all the hockey. And so it's just kind of I've watched these kinds of things happen in the world, and here's some hope for kids who maybe don't make the hockey team. Plus, curling's totally fun. Have you ever tried it?
No.
Oh my gosh, I've never done it on ice. I've done the floor curling. It's really fun.
Yeah, we don't have it in.
What is floor curling though?
Floor curling is the exact same thing, but they use these like rubber mats on the floor as
Yeah.
the sheet of ice, and then the stone is on wheels instead of.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and so you just push the stone, and I don't know if you actually have to have sweepers on this one because it's on
It's
a rubber mat.
glorified shuffleboard.
Yeah, well, it's really totally fun too. It's
You
so
played
fun.
shuffleboard in the bar.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's similar to that.
Right,
Yeah.
but I can see how that would be fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the goal is that this play would go along with curling clubs for Optimist International.
Oh,
but
okay.
ideally, it would also, the play itself and the story would also get out further because it really is a beautiful story.
And the story is everybody has a place. Even if you don't make the hockey team, there's somewhere else that you might be able to. Is that kind of
Yeah, it really is, and it's just about finding your spot in the world, I guess, and your spot in yourself to be able
Yeah.
to be strong enough to be like, I can stand up to the bullies now because I found my strength in myself, and even the bullies end up liking the curling in this
Yeah.
play. It's kind of fun, yeah.
So, was there a dog in the book, or oh, okay,
There's a dog in the book, and he talks to the dog a little bit, like says, "Oh, Dad's gonna be so disappointed in me," and then he has the real conversations with his family around the dinner table.
right.
And I could keep that in there, but the play's already at 90 minutes without the family, and I was like,
Wow.
no, let's get rid of him. And it worked really well. So he has all those conversations instead with his dog. It's just like a moment to think through things,
Yeah.
almost like going in your room and journaling, but instead of journaling, he's talking to the dog.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you practically adapt that? Are you reading a section and then like, okay, what lines can I extract out of this, and then going, how is that?
It's exactly that.
Okay.
So I read through the script. I find out not the script, the story. So there were 4 of us that read through the story. We all put in the key moments that we thought were important, as well as, because it's for Optimist International, some of the like creed moments that we saw that would kind of amplify optimists. And so we looked for those, and then I knew that I had to go into those pages and really read through them, find them, pull out the language that was important, and then let everything else go.
Huh.
Which was really hard because it's a really well-written story. Yeah.
Have you done that before?
No.
No. You just kind of jumped into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you get assigned to this? How did you get the job?
It was just at an Optimist International 4th quarter meeting, and I was at breakfast on the last day, and this gentleman from Canada who teaches the curling and has the curling club up in Canada approached me and was like, "Well, what do you know about puppetry?" Because he found out I did theater. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love puppetry!" And I just like went off about all my favorite types of puppetry and how if I could do water puppetry on stage, that would be the best day of my life. And he was just like, "Well, I was just asking because I'm looking for somebody to write a script." I'm like, "Oh, I totally went off on a different tangent," and he just wanted me to say yes or no. So I was like, well, yeah, obviously I would totally be interested in that. What can I do for you? So this actually started in 2022, this conversation. And last year it was a very long, stressful year in our home with like illness in the family and whatnot. And so I didn't get as much done last year as I wanted. So I'm really excited that it's back on track. Yeah.
And so help me understand what optimist is and the difference between that and Sir Optimist.
So Sir Optimist is an all-female club, I believe, and they help empower women and girls, and that is their main focus. Optimist International started as kind of a way to get kids out and playing like football and sports, and maybe doing some oratorical competitions and essays and things like that.
Okay.
And here in La Grande, it was specifically started in the 60s to get football going for all the kids in the area.
Yeah.
And that went on for a long time. And unfortunately, there's like these national programs that have come around and really taken over football in a cheaper, easier way. And so a lot of Optimist clubs are saying goodbye to the football program, and La Grande is one of them. And so the La Grande Optimists passed it off to the city of La Grande.
Okay.
So some of the Optimist members still officiate games, and we still sponsor it, but we're not in charge of it anymore. And so now Optimist is also opened up to women, and we are here to support the youth. And the motto is Friends of Youth.
I
So we
played
just wanna support-
Optimist football.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I
They
think
keep trying to get me to join Optimist too.
yeah. You should. It's totally fun.
I don't know.
I mean, I think most people have really a good time with the concession stands that we do up at the football game.
Yeah.
Like, and the guys in the club really love to mingle and talk with people, and it's really lovely. They do a good job of just staying optimist with the kids, and yeah.
and how did you get plugged into Optimist?
So they, a couple of years ago, they were doing a fundraiser called the ATV Poker Run, and I offered to help make the flyers, and in the process of helping make the flyers for it, I just kind of joined. Yeah, because my uncle has been in it for a long time, and
Yeah.
then my cousin
your
joined.
cousin,
and,
yeah.
yeah, two of my uncles were, and then two of my cousins are now their kids, and so I was like, well, yeah, I'll totally be in there.
Yeah. Now you guys were in school at the same time, or
No, Dazzy went.
I think
before
you
me.
were a freshman when I was a senior, or a
Maybe I was in
sophomore?
the same classes
as
Yeah.
Kenny?
as Kenny.
Oh, so you can't. Wait, you graduated in '98?
Oh no, 99.
99. So
Yeah.
you were a sophomore when I was a senior, because I was 97.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we were there at the same time.
So, and we were talking a couple of shows ago about how many kids from that era, from your era, are back in La Grande and taking own businesses and positions of leadership, and
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to see, because I think growing up it felt like, as a kid, I felt like there was always something for me to do, but there was never enough to do, like a variety.
yeah,
It was always the same things over and over, and so I think it's really wonderful that my age group is here and creating opportunity.
Yeah.
I
think that's
call
really
it the
wonderful.
black hole.
You did?
Well, yeah, you get out, but it'll suck you back in.
Yeah, it can. This has been home base for us, but there's a nice privilege of living in a town where you can walk to school and have sidewalks to the school. Like when I lived up in Washington, the school was 2 miles away, and there were no sidewalks, and it was out in the country, and so I couldn't send my kids to school. Here, I was able to say, yo, 10-year-old, get out the door,
Yeah.
walk to school. I'm running late. I got to get down to the station.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was we did some interviews recently for a client, and one of the things that the guy said that we were interviewing was talking about the specialness of living in La Grande, and he said, it's really unique to be in a place where there's a variety, there's a diverse group of people that live in La Grande, but they all have a common desire to have a simpler experience for their kids going to school.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a way to say it, but I mean, they had that's the common thing that brings a lot of people together is they want a life that is manageable. They want them to go schools that you can walk to and that are influenceable and that you can be involved in. And
Yeah.
So
It
that
makes a
culture is
deal.
kind of unique. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think La Grande really has a lot of opportunity for not necessarily change and growth, but just I guess maybe it is change and growth, but just this ability to kind of expand with what's going on maybe and shrink up as we need to. I feel like we can actually do that as a city, even as the valley is growing and expanding. I'm watching just various individuals come in and go, and it's fun to see that their common goal is their common interests are usually being in nature, right? Because we're surrounded by so much beauty in nature. That's what they want to see. And they want to see conservation for the nature and people taking care of it. and respecting it and getting out and playing in it and having the right to play in it, right? There's
Right.
like just so many great things. And I'm hearing lots of conversations about how if we would just do things in a more simple manner and approach things with some logic and understanding and open ears, that people will just start to like come together. And I feel like I've been witnessing that in this town in the last year. I haven't been back long, but in the last year I've been out and about and I've been witnessing that, I think.
It feels, I mean, I've been here almost 25 years, and it feels like this time feels a little different. I mean, I would say particularly after COVID. I mean, I think that there's kind of there's a little bit more of a new momentum that's happening, you know.
Yeah.
And
well, would you think that, I mean, for me, I see that COVID really brought to light how much time we want to spend doing certain activities.
Yeah.
Right? And for me, I feel like people have noticed that slowing down and breathing is a little more important now. And it's easier to do in a small town.
Yeah.
So do you feel like maybe that's what you're witnessing?
Well, the thing I'm learning or seeing, yeah, I mean, that has always been something I've appreciated about LeGrand. And I don't know that my life I haven't experienced that personally. It's more chaotic now than what it was ever, you know. But I think that there's a new economic vitality that I'm seeing. I mean, I just feel, your business is one. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening like that, you know. I just heard in the grapevine, I don't know if that Allstate Conklin's bought the Eoni building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they've got a big, cool vision of, and I haven't talked to them, but they've got a great vision of using that building and not only for their insurance agency, but to do some stuff, some public spaces and so on and so forth to create some energy along Jefferson. And that, I mean, you know, that the other two insurance agencies have bought bank buildings here locally. And I mean, there's a big investment. People are making investments, you know, all of those things represent people. I mean, the Williamsons doing the press room and you know, Evermind, yeah, labels. I mean, all of that stuff is just, you know, that's huge. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
And I don't know that I hadn't seen that. I mean, that's going the opposite direction from, you know, I mean, if we go back even 10 years, J.C. Penney's left and, you know, the Observer moved and Albertsons. And I mean, just all of that was, I think we're going in a different direction what we have been in the past.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think on some fronts. On other fronts, we're going the wrong direction. Customer service being one of them. Right. And people wanting to work being the other.
Yeah.
Like, customer service has gone to crap since COVID.
Yeah.
If you go, like, when my kids were here, we went to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
It's pointless. It really is. The customer service is so bad. They're so slow. They don't care.
Right.
And that's since COVID.
Well, and I think that is the case. Part of that is owner.
100%. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you take like McDonald's, who is owned locally, even though it's a franchise. I mean, they're in that store. They're on those people, so on and so forth. Right. You know, so
accountability.
It's the accountability. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's the idea of the local owners too, really starting to understand that this is our community and these are the people that we care about.
Right. But it didn't used to be like that, even with owners that weren't local.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like you just, it's different since COVID.
Yeah.
The motivation to help others, like especially like if you're in the, you know, helping people world of employment.
Yeah.
It's different nowadays. It really is. I mean, I'm not saying everywhere and everything, But like, especially in like food establishments,
Right.
it is crazy.
Do you call them out on it when they treat you poorly?
Oh, I didn't. I've only been there once.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
but I hear it.
I mean, anywhere,
I
yeah.
hear it from lots of people. No, I don't want my food spitting.
Well,
already
I
paid
mean,
for it.
there's kind ways to do it. It's like, yo, like I'm a
Well,
human too,
but
and I'm
part
sorry you're
of-
having a hard
but
day.
part of what I see, and I mean, you have opposite ends. I mean, you have Hobby Habit, one of our sponsors. They're totally. I mean, they're all about the customer. You walk
Yeah.
in there, how can we help you, and so on. So part of that is ownership, but part
is,
of it
local
is.
owner, yeah.
But part of that is you, and you interact with this all the time. I do. I see that if I complain to that person, they're not really in a place to do anything about it anyhow.
Right.
So, but I've had similar experiences, at some of the different franchises around the area, and then total opposite experiences. But there is a disconnection in the motivation to work, I think.
For reals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
you have, and man, we could spend the whole morning talking about that. You have minimum wage. I mean, since labor is so short, then you have some of those entry level jobs, and they're paying $18 or $20 an hour, whatever it might
Which
be.
is crazy.
You have kids that are not finishing high school because they can go get a job and make, a couple $1,000s a month.
Is that true? That's
That
really
is
happening
true.
here
Yeah.
in this valley?
Oh yeah.
And
for
I mean,
sure.
I think they've got that turned around, but certainly, at the very end of COVID, you had kids that were like, they were making a choice between, wait, I'm gonna finish my high school in front of a screen, or I'm gonna drop out and get a GED and go get a job right now.
Yeah, the attendance rate
Yeah.
in high school in LeGrand was very low. During
Yeah, and I
COVID.
mean, I think they've got that.
seems
They
like
definitely
some
have that turned around.
Decent logic, though. I mean, if
Right.
they wanted to do stuff, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I wish that they could all go to school and finish it, but I mean, if they're making those choices and they're bettering their lives thanks to a job that's offering them that money at a starting position, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And if the company can afford it, by all means, please do it, because this valley could use more
Yeah.
money staying in the valley instead of having money go outside of the valley.
Yeah.
I feel like we really need to focus on those mom and pop shops and locally owned businesses. It's a big topic.
The flip side of that, though, too, is it's hard to focus on mom and pop shops when it's more expensive and we're not getting paid anymore. And the economy has, like, if you look at the price of just everything, pretty much, it's gone up.
It's almost
considerably.
doubled. Yeah.
But our wages haven't doubled, so it's hard to if you go into a local store that's selling an item for $20 and you can get that same item on Amazon for $10.
But
it's
that's the choice we're making as consumers, right?
Well,
so
yeah,
as consumers, we're doing that
it's
to
hard,
ourselves.
though. I mean, it's financially, it's hard to make that choice if you're on a budget. You know what I mean? For people that
I agree.
it's a tough spot.
Yeah, and we have a very vast array of income levels in this valley. And the median income, I really don't feel like represents our valley well.
It's
Yeah.
like 60.
Is it that high now? I thought it was in
like
the
that.
50s, but it just doesn't seem appropriate for the level of poverty we also have in this valley.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot. That's a big topic.
No, but it's a really valid conversation for here. I mean, that's the point. Is that it really matters to us. I think that what I was thinking is that since owning a small business, my attitude has changed about buying stuff from small businesses.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not sure that I would have gotten that had I not owned a business. And let me explain it. So, when I was a kid, my dad, I mean, he was frugal, but he was always looking for a deal. Okay. Well, if he knew that he had a friend of his who had bought that product, who had his own business and had bought that product at a wholesale price, then he would hope that he could leverage that friendship and get a deal out of that. Okay, and good or bad, that's just how it was. Well, now I'm on the other end of that, and I realize that that that's not beneficial. You know what I mean? I mean, I have to. So now my attitude has changed where I don't mind spending a little bit more. I don't mind paying a little bit more, even though I can't necessarily afford it. You know, I will pay more to buy something locally than if I, you know, buy it on Amazon. But on the same hand, I'll just have to make up for it some other way. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, like we've had to purchase less so that we can spend more locally.
You're right. It is. It's 52,000. I looked it up just
Yeah.
to make sure the median income in LeGrand. But our poverty rate is 3% higher than the national average. Too.
Yeah.
It's like 14.7, and the national average is like in the 11s.
So, and what
Wow.
is poverty
high.
level? What is below what? Below.
Yeah,
I think it's
Yeah.
below 27,000 is considered.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
It might even be less than that. I don't know. The last time I
I
had
thought
that
it was
conversation,
22 the last time I checked, but
Yeah.
what is the
I was
US
surprised at how
poverty?
high it was.
Well, and I mean, this is.
Oh, it's 14,500.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that national or is that?
That's in the U.S.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
But
that's
if
like
you think about that, that
$7
means
per hour?
14% of the people in LeGrand make less than that.
Yeah.
Make less than 20,000 a month.
No, less than 14.
14,850
So
or
15,000
580.
a year,
Yeah.
approximately, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's hard to get by on.
Well, right. It would be impossible to get by on.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wonder. I guess I would like to dig into that more because, you know, I mean, you couldn't pay rent.
No.
I mean, you can't hardly rent a place for less than, by the time you pay utilities and everything, less than $1,000 a month.
I don't even know if you
you
could
ain't
do that
finding
for.
nowhere
Right.
for less than $1,000.
No.
Yeah, right. And so then if you're only making $15,000 a year, 12,000 of that goes to your housing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So not that I doubt. There's, you know how statistics are. There's some factors in there that you really kind of need to understand how they got there. But that doesn't change the fact that there are, you know, impoverished people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I tell you, one of the other complicating things is just, you know, and this is the minimum wage pressure on businesses, whatever it might be, you know.
Right.
And what a lot of people don't understand is, the minimum wage middle of this year is going to be like $14.25 or something like that, which and the problem is that it, you know, when we raise minimum wage with our employees, you got to raise them all. You know, it's not fair to raise the minimum wage of the lowest person without raising the wage of everyone else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's not
true.
that it just impacts the minimum wage employees, it impacts all of your employees. And
Yeah, economics is
yeah.
a huge deal. And it's important to understand it a little bit too, right? Like, you seem to, so that's good.
Well, and it's just the point is they're not simple patches.
No, they're
You
not.
can't just simple say, whatever it might be. So, well, so let's pivot. What other adventures do you have in the hopper that you're thinking about?
Gosh, there's so many percolating right now. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. So I'm hoping to keep working with Jerry Mackley with Night Fright Productions to create a haunted house acting camp and makeup camp for students to really kind of grasp what it would be to be an actor in the haunted house.
Yeah.
And it's also really fun. Like, it's just
Right.
fun to do some gruesome makeup and
Yeah.
to learn how to scare people and learn the basics of fear. I used to hate haunted houses until I
And
started.
now you've been the backside of it. It's like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, it's like when you go on the backside of Disneyland. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
you're like, wow, that's how that works, and it's not.
Yeah.
It takes away a little bit of the magic of Disney. But with the haunted houses, it's just like, oh, it's not so scary, and I get to know why it is scary,
it's
the
a gag.
psychology behind
It's
it. Like, it's
yeah.
totally fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope to do some of that. I'm still on the board with Art Center East and teaching art through them. So I get to teach some free classes to young kids through the Art Center, which is very exciting. And I will probably keep doing that. And then I'm going to try to start giving scholarships to students in trade, I don't know if you would call it in trade, but if they do community service to like discount their prices. So I'm looking into how that can work with different organizations around the valley so that people can start engaging with the community and giving back to the community if they're my students.
Have you thought about starting like a 501c and going after grants and stuff?
I have. I'm not quite ready yet because this is still my baby.
Right.
But I am considering moving in that direction, or at least even a co-op, perhaps, because I'm just watching so many students come in there and learn to have self-advocacy and stand up for themselves and explore their imagination and make big choices. And some of them are starting to have some really good conversations about what it means to be a supportive person and what it means to say, no, I don't appreciate that, please stop doing that, and what that looks like. And it's really, really exciting. And I think the more kids that we can kind of gather to start doing that, the stronger teens we will have in the future, and then the stronger adults we will have in the future. We'll be able to interact and communicate well. And that's kind of a big overall dream I have if it were a nonprofit.
So then but to boil it down, the thing that you really appreciate the most is when you're seeing the attitudes and the learning of the individual kid.
There's nothing more exciting than watching a kid go,
I get it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Even adults, when I teach my adults and I watch them get it, I'm just like, oh, my heart is so full.
Yeah.
You're so amazing. I love it. It is incredible. And so I've been watching it since September when I started teaching, and I could just start crying. Like, I'm just so proud of these students. They're amazing, amazing human beings.
So where did you learn? When did that experience happen for you when you were in high school or wherever, when you first started to act?
Like the I love acting or the aha moment? So most kids get into acting because they like being the center of attention.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And we talked about that last night too with my younger kids in the classes, that we like being the center of attention, but there's more to acting than just having the spotlight on us. And so I think it wasn't until undergraduate, after I'd left and come back, and I was a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and I just realized I wasn't as good as I thought I was. Yeah. And I was like, wow, so maybe I should make some better choices. So I think I had a really good set of human beings teaching at Eastern at that time when that happened, with April Curtis and Lyle Schwartz and Ken Bush. They were my instructors. And sometimes Becky Thompson would be there to teach dance.
Yeah.
And there were also some really great people there at the same time, like Chris Jennings was there, and he does the film festival, right? And he pretty much saved my life with another kid one night. I was just having a terrible crisis as a student, feeling overwhelmed. I had gotten involved in too much. I didn't know who to say no to, and I just broke down on the sidewalk sobbing. And Chris Jennings and his friend Brandon both sat down with me and just like let me cry for maybe 45 minutes. And they're just like, here, Rikki, we'll sit with you and stay calm. And they kind of helped me see things a little differently too. And I think that made a huge impact on my life. And so from that moment forward, it's just kind of been like paying it forward, right? Like I have to keep paying it forward, because if I don't, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were a grade school kid, did you act or did you pretend?
And I got so mad when I wasn't cast in the role I wanted all the time.
As a grade school kid?
Yes. Oh my goodness, because I used to do Christmas plays every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I was Jingle one year when I wanted to be Mrs. Claus, and I was so mad, so I got to be an elf. But the elf was a really good part. I don't know why I was like so upset about it. It was totally fun.
Huh, that's funny.
Yeah.
No, and those are such valuable experiences.
Yeah.
And I get that. Well, let's talk about one more thing before we quit. So I'm hoping, we talked the other day offline about maybe you doing some interviews on EO Talks. And talk about that a little bit. And what do you think about that?
I just keep meeting fascinating people all over Eastern Oregon. And I think that they need to like share their stories on a wider scale.
Yeah.
So I would love to pull people in and just have them share their stories.
Well, and I think that's kind of, Will Bowman, who worked for me for 5 years, that was kind of, that was kind of some of the very beginnings of EO Alive. It was LeGrand Alive at the time, but it was just hearing people's stories, you know. And he had a show called Coffee with Will.
Oh, fun.
And I mean, he probably did 50 or 75 interviews over the course of the time that he was here. And so then after he left, I mean, EO Talks was kind of started to replace that, and we didn't give it Brent's Talks or anybody else's name because I wanted it to be a little bit more universal where people could plug in. And so,
That's awesome.
I mean, that is kind of the heart of how EO Live got started, is hearing the interesting stories of people, you know.
That's fantastic.
And I think that that connects us. I mean, at the very core of what it is that we do, we like telling the stories of Eastern Oregonians to Eastern Oregonians. Yeah.
It's like the people of New York, right?
Yeah.
Those stories, people love them.
Yeah, is that a series? I don't know that.
I don't know if it started as a Facebook group, but they just go out and interview random New Yorkers and share their stories. And there are some incredible stories on there.
Well, and Kyle and I talk about this all the time. In the marketing side of it, when we have business as sponsors and so on and so forth, we specialize in first-person business owners telling their stories because there's nothing more authentic, there's nothing more original. They're not edited, you know. We're not taking their sound bites or whatever the case might be. Yeah. So that's very much at kind of the heart of what it is we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I appreciate it.
Good. So so be watching for those episodes coming out. We don't have one in the can yet, but we will. So, all righty, man.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
On this day, which is January 9th already.
Yeah.
1493, Christopher Columbus mistakes manatees for mermaids, describing them as not half as beautiful as they are painted. He thought, that's funny. 1936, on this day, the semi-automatic rifle is adopted by the U.S. Army. 1969, on this day, the first trial flight of Concorde supersonic jetliner in Bristol, England.
What year? 69?
1969. 2001, on this day, Apple announces iTunes at the Macworld Expo in San Francisco for organizing and playing digital music and videos. And then they turn around in 2007, and Apple CEO Steve Jobs announces
The iPhone.
the iPhone, 2007.
Wow.
So that means it's been around for 17 years.
So before that, it was the iPod.
iPod, yeah. where
I
you
still
listen to
have one of
music.
those little.
They even had ones like this big.
Yeah.
The Nano, iPod Nano.
Yeah.
I've never had anything.
Yeah.
Never been a fan of. You know why? Because I had a I don't remember why, but I had to download iTunes onto my computer one time, and it screwed everything up.
Yeah.
It really did, because you know what I mean?
Right.
It just clashes with anything PC.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what? No more. The number one movie on this day in 1993. You want to guess? 1993. On this day. It was released in 92, obviously, because this is January. Robin Williams.
Oh, it's right.
Benny, come on, bro. I didn't even say the name of the movie yet.
You can still say it.
Aladdin.
Arabian Night.
Yeah. Quote of the day comes from Benjamin Franklin. And it's an... Oh, okay. So this quote is just because of the new year. You know what I mean? It's a new year. Be at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let every new year find you a better man. One more time. Be at war with your vices, peace with your neighbors, and let every year find you a better man. Ben Franklin.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yes, sir.
All righty. Hey, thanks, Ricky, for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Eastern Oregon, for joining us, and we'll see you Thursday right here.